Game number 6 against the Phoenix Suns. Loss. Big loss. 27-pointer. Big old fat 27 job done by the Dallas Mavericks at home. And I'll say this. When the Phoenix Suns lost Game 5 to the Dallas Mavericks in Dallas, I was frustrated. I was pissed. Matthew, when I look at this game, I'm just disappointed, man. I'm just disappointed that in a closeout situation for the Phoenix Suns, they came out as flat as they did, as uninspired as they did, and played in such a manner that is forcing a Game 7. And, good, bad, or indifferent, the Mavericks have the best player in the series on their team, and that's what you want going into a Game 7.
Yeah, I guess they do. Going back to the finals, when we just couldn't close it out against the Bucks, it was like, you know what? Just can't keep up with Giannis. Giannis just took over that series.
Mm-hmm.
He was unguardable. But in this series, these losses, especially this one, I'm just like, what is it? I mean, of course, it's a CP3 games where he just can't show up. But, other than that, I'm just like, what is it? It has to be fixed, because I've never seen this where in between the different home games, like the Suns come out, they killed in Game 5, Game 6 tonight, they come out, and it's almost like they're waltzing through the game, and they're just like, yeah, it's a loss. And the second quarter is like, yep, this is a loss. Sorry, it's a scheduled loss, Suns fans. They just can't tell us, but they're walking around, they know it's already going to be a loss. It's the weirdest thing. I cannot fucking understand this thing.
I've never seen a team as schizophrenic as the Phoenix Suns are right now in this series.
Yeah,
I've never seen it. I've never seen a team that is so dominant and so complete when they play at home, and when they go on the road, they're disengaged. They're throwing the ball away. They're turning it over. Bad turnovers too. Bad. Not like, it's not like a bunch of these plays were forced by the Mavericks and they got into passing lanes. Now, granted, they did, but there's some where we're just throwing it right at them, and they catch the ball. And they're like, oh shit, how did I get the ball? And it's frustrating, because now we put ourselves in a situation where we have to watch a Game 7, which is the most stressful shit ever, because you talk about every possession counting during the playoffs. Every possession counts in a Game 7. And if you go forth and play like you did tonight, if you go out against the Dallas Mavericks, I don't care if you're at home or not, if you go out against the Dallas Mavericks and you turn the ball over like the Phoenix Suns did tonight 22 times, you deserve to lose, and we deserve to have our season over. And again, credit to the Dallas Mavericks. They brought the energy necessary. They hit their wide open threes. The Suns didn't. And they leave with a 27-point victory in a crucial Game 6. And again, I'm not even mad. I'm just disappointed, man.
Yeah, and this is by far the worst game I've seen, but Juan Arenado says this is by far the worst game I've watched the Suns CP3 era. And I feel like every time the Suns lose in the playoffs,
I don't know why I pulled that up. And I don't know
Spencer
how to get rid of
Dinwiddie,
it.
you're just killing it, dude.
I don't even know how to get rid of it. I'm so pissed right now. There you go. Boom, boom. There you go. I'm deleting things on the side while you're talking. I'm so pissed.
Oh my God, that was awesome. But yeah, so every game that the Suns lose, these plays are always the worst games, right? It's always the Suns can't play any worse than that, and they top it off the next time they lose.
I know, right?
I'm serious. And every time you see a tweet when the Suns are losing, when the series is tied 2-2, or else they're up 3-2, and then after this game we're gonna see tweets. Still, it's gonna be like, that was the worst the Suns have played. They haven't played their best ball yet, but we'll see what happens after this. I still believe in them. It's always tweets like that from everybody, but when's it going to stop to where they show up like this? I get missing shots, but just, I don't know.
I'll tell you what, you look all over or holistically at this playoffs for the Phoenix Suns, and they're 7-5. I mean, they haven't played any consistent stretch of dominant basketball at any point in this playoff run. And last game was awesome. You're like, hey, this looks like the Phoenix Suns are back. They're playing some defense. That's the team we know. Yeah. And they come out today and they can't play defense. They can't play offense. They're walking through the motions. And again, you just leave disappointed. So plenty to talk about on this edition of the Suns Jam Session podcast. We thank you if you're joining us, whether you're watching along live or you're listening at a later time and date. Go Suns, but fuck, man. Game 7, like not any kind of fun. So make sure you subscribe, rate, and review. You can follow me on Twitter at Darth Voida. You can follow Matthew on Twitter.
I'm Matthew Lissy.
And you can follow the show at Suns Jam. We had another engaging Twitter space during
Really good
halftime. It was really good. Some great observations by the Jamsters who rose their hand and said, "Hey, I got a couple points of view." We appreciate
one more
that
every
very,
time,
very much.
right? I feel like it's one more Jamster every time. One new one.
People are getting a little bit more confident. You know, like,
yeah.
I got something to say.
If I can talk, just anybody can fucking do this, all right?
Well, let's pop open a beer.
Let's do it, dude. Oh.
Let's talk about this game. (113-86). The Phoenix Suns don't score over 30 points in any quarter in this game. And it brings me to my first question.
Matthew, I got to ask.
Is CP3 done? Is he
man.
toast?
Good question. This is something that he's probably being asked right now. Hey, what's up? Because I don't know if the last post game, the last loss, or even last game, no one's brought it up, right? No one's even asked him, is something wrong? Tonight, something's wrong. I think the assists are usually there, but man, when you want to trust on a guy that, led us to this 64 win game season, just like alongside Devin Booker. When Devin Booker's having a good first quarter, and the second quarter you have Chris Paul come in and you can't trust him, and then the rest of the game you can't trust him. It just reminds me of last year, and I was thinking too, and I'm going to ask you back, when was it last year when we were kind of asking like, hey, can we replace Chris Paul with Cam Payne? Because Cam Payne at one time, remember in the playoffs, he was playing really good, and Chris Paul was playing like this, and we're like, can we just have him take Chris Paul's minutes? And it's like it's happening again. And it's probably an injury, right? Or what is it?
Well, it's got to be at this point, because over his last 4 games, he's averaging 9.3 points, 6.3 assists, and 4.5 turnovers. And yes, the Mavericks are doing a great job defending him, but it looks like he's hurt again. We've seen this Chris Paul. We saw it in the NBA Finals last year. And at some point, he is going to have to answer those questions. At some point, we're going to have to hear the answers. And it looks like it's going to be sooner than later, because it looked like he fucked up his hand at the end of this game. There was a play in which Jay Crowder, pushed through a defender. Frank Ntilikina fell into Chris Paul, and instantly he grabs his right hand. He's looking at it like it's a broken hand or a sprained wrist or something. Right wrist, of course, shooting one. So not only was he hurt, but now you have a potentially hampered Chris Paul who going into game 7, and you don't know what to expect, and he has played like complete ass these past few games. And I'm trying to think if there was any play in the Pelican series that he could have potentially hurt himself, or in the first 2 games. And I'm just like, I don't recall any specific play or any, time where I thought he might have hurt himself. But the way that he is playing, he definitely appears to be hampered. In this game, he's 4 of 7, so he's not shooting the ball. 3 of 5 from beyond the arc, 5 turnovers with the 13 points, and he has more turnovers than assists in this game. 5 turnovers, 4 assists. It's just like, I don't know what to think. I don't know what to say. Chris Paul's performance is unbelievably concerning to me. Unbelievably concerning.
Cedar Stone says we will get Scott Foster in game 7. You know what? I don't think Chris Paul really needs any help right now in sucking, right? I mean,
I know, right?
It might, you know what I mean? I mean, that can't really be the excuse if we go in the next game and we lose. It's because even last year, Chris Paul didn't look this bad. This is like something's up with his legs or something. But still, I mean, in the third quarter, when he starts to bring the ball down, I'm like, so we're down by 20 and we're just going to like stand around and wait this game out? Like we're going to have him back down the ball like he's trying to break into a door every time he's trying to get the ball past half court. And then once that happens, all hell breaks loose for the Suns offense, where we just turn the ball over and he's throwing it to the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah.
Sham it is, Booker in the second half. So, I mean, it spreads. I feel like I think I brought this up in the Twitter spaces where I was like, are we are we looking at the Suns team and they're kind of looking for Chris Paul for that motivation? And it's not there, right? Booker started good, but then Booker had a terrible game the rest of the game. But when you're watching Chris Paul just bring the ball up, it's painful. It's like trying to help your step pep like to the bathroom. It's just like, if you're doing this every day, it's not going to be great for your emotions throughout the rest of the day. So they need something to boost their morale. I'm sure next game they'll win, but this was bad.
Well, I mean, to that point, I mean, you look at the opposition in this series. You have Luka Doncic, who picks his team up motivational wise, and Chris Paul, like you said, every time there's a camera shot of Chris Paul, his head's down. He's got that look on his face like I feel right now, just like no emotion,
exactly.
very melancholy. That's how he's looked this entire series. Something's up there. Something is up with Chris Paul.
It's not his family thing, right?
No, I can't. I honestly, because he sucked before that. I mean,
yeah, he was sucking before that. So.
I mean, it's been a bad series for him. It's been bad playoffs for him. Again, he's had these great moments, and you're like, okay, this is vintage Chris Paul. And then he turned 37 years old, and it's like, I don't know, honestly, what happened. I wrote that piece for Brightside. Will the real Chris Paul please stand up? And I stand by it because it's like he still hasn't provided us any performance since Game 2 to give us any hope. And now going into a Game 7, again, potentially hampered. And even if he didn't have a hand injury like he appeared to sustain at the end of this game, I would be worried. Now I'm fucking terrified. And I'll tell you this, this is a crazy question to ask, but I got to ask it. Is it the worst thing in the world if Cameron Payne starts Game 7?
Maybe, yeah. You know what? I think Chris Paul starts, but if it gets bad, you just got to put him in the corner again. I don't think you take him out. But even Jam, I was just going to bring up, maybe he made a deal with Satan, says Jam in the chat. And I was going to say for that last game in Game 2, it seems like he sold his soul for that one game. And ever since then, everything's kind of left his body. I want to go as far as to start Cam Payne just because Cam Payne hasn't been playing well. You even saw him come in tonight and look like kind of dog crap.
I know he's like falling on the ground and
again, he was on skates
for his
like
own
Mikhail.
good. So Aaron Holiday's going to start Game 7 for us.
Aaron Holiday, just play his ad. I don't care. Just play him.
Jeez. I mean, it's kind of come to that point, which again is just like unbelievable to me that we are even entertaining that kind of idea. But again, so like Coach Fallen Founder says in the chat, starter Cam is better than bench Cam. And if you take a look at, remember the time in which you and I referenced, in which we talked about Cam Payne as a starter, was that time when he was performing well with Chris Paul out, when Chris Paul had the wrist injury, right? So you actually, if you take a look this season for Cam Payne as a starter, 12 games he played, 14 points per game, 9 assists, 4 total rebounds, 3-point percentage, 35%. And you look at him as a reserve, 10 points a game, 3.8 assists, 2.8 rebounds. And the big thing is his shooting goes down when he's a reserve versus when he's a starter. So the fact that we even have to have this conversation, I feel defeated. And that's how a lot of the Suns fan base feels right now. Shout out to So Says Jay. We always positive vibes only is like his Twitter handle thing right now. And I wish I could just have that attitude right now. It's like, I got to eat some gummies or something to just be like, whatever, man. But it's just like, the realism part of this is we are the better team. We're the deeper team. But we are. The schizophrenic Suns, when they go to Dallas, the role players don't play well. Conversely, they give up points to the opposition. Look at the role players tonight for the Phoenix Suns. Total points, 17. 6 from Torrey Craig in the 15 minutes that he played. That didn't count.
No.
Cameron Johnson, 5 on 1 of 5 shooting. Landry Shamet, 2 on 1 of 6 shooting. Bismack Biyombo, 4 on 2 of 4 shooting. Conversely, you have Spencer Dinwiddie getting 15 points for them. Maxi Kleber getting 9 points for them. 3 from Davis, Neanderthal, Bertans. I mean, they
ugly motherfucker. Sorry,
he is.
He is
man.
just.
He could be.
Usually,
I
don't go after
Spur.
people's look. He's 7 feet though, so it doesn't hurt him. He can be ugly, but he is just nasty looking, man. I'm sorry. Usually, like tall white dudes, you can't be that ugly. I don't know what happened to him.
He's the missing link, man. That's what it is he's the missing link. But the other side of this conversation comes down to the performance of, the other guard.
Big Dick Booker.
And this game was one of the worst Booker performances of the playoffs. 6 of 17 from the field. Took him 17 shots to get 19 points. And 7 of those came from the line because he just started throwing himself into defenders, trying to get calls, trying to do anything in that third quarter and fourth quarter. But he had 8 turnovers, Matthew. 8 turnovers for Devin Booker. I mean, here's what's happening with the Dallas Mavericks right now. What they've understood is CP3's compromised. So they don't have to spend as much energy. They're going to pick him up 94 feet, let him get past the time stripe with 15 seconds left almost every time. They shade off of him, and then anytime Booker gets the ball, they just blitz him because they know that CP3 is hampered. So they can focus all their energy on Devin Booker. We've seen this before. The Milwaukee Bucks did this when Chris Paul was injured in the finals last year. And then you make Booker have to overwork. They're blitzing him 5 feet in front of the three-point line, and he's not trying to fight through anything, and they have the length to stop it. And that's why the Suns are turning the ball over at such a high clip. That's why they're not getting into their offense, is because of that reason.
Yeah, one more thing about Chris Paul, though, really quick. Ordinary or average guy says CP3 looks like President Biden. Left or right, that's pretty funny. PB3, we can start calling him that if you guys want. But I'm not political. I just thought that was really funny.
It's funny.
So first quarter, great, right? Second quarter, scoreless. He doesn't score another point till almost 3 minutes left in the third. It's insane because even the turnovers, we talked about the Suns as a whole, turning the ball, they were just throwing it to the Mavs. And I want to give credit to the Mavericks. It's funny when you look at the Twitter, on Twitter, and you look at like KOC sending stuff off, just like actually watching the game and not being a Suns fan. He's just like, great job by the Mavs here, great job there. Watching it as a Suns fan, you're just like, what the fuck, Book? Like, what the fuck was that? Again and again and again. He was trying harder. He wasn't playing as bad as the other guys, but he couldn't get his shot to go down. And it seemed like a lot of Suns players Mikal Bridges obviously couldn't get anything. But when Book goes scoreless in the third, where he's Mr. First and third quarter, you know you're in trouble, especially with Chris Paul. And he said all the energy is on Booker to stop this guy. And there's nothing that he could really do more. I want to say it was a bad game by him with the turnovers, for sure. It was terrible, but his shot just wouldn't go down either. He had those wide open threes in the first half. I think it was the first quarter, second quarter, just back-to-back wide open threes and missed them.
Yep.
Cameron Johnson, same thing, but Book needed to be that guy in the third quarter, like last game, where he came in and just took over. We needed that because we needed that exceptional performance from him to move on to the next series. And it wasn't there because too much pressure put on him, because you even say Luka's the best player in this series. He is, for sure. I might joke around and say Booker is, but we all know Luka is. We need Chris Paul and Devin Booker together to defeat Luka. And it sucks that Chris Paul is playing the way he is because Booker relies on him heavily. That just so the rest of the team.
Absolutely. And when you're hampered, or one of your players is hampered, it allows the defense to do what they did tonight. And I mean, 8 turnovers is just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's,
and as a team, 22 turnovers led to 29 points for the Dallas Mavericks. And again, kudos to them. They had 7 turnovers and they only gave up 6 points off those 7 turnovers. But through 3 quarters, they only had 4, or less than that. They had 2. They had 2 turnovers through 3 quarters. They took care of the ball tonight. That's what you're supposed to do. And typically when that happens, you're going to win, especially in the playoffs. And the Phoenix Suns, again, the Dallas Mavericks forced them into those situations. I truly believe that. Some of it, the CP3 stuff, a lot of it was him just throwing dumb passes and just not seeing the floor. That's the crazy thing about CP3 right now. He's just not seeing the floor. Like, all they're doing on the weak side is getting low and just waiting for him to throw it across, and then just picking off the pass. Like, they're Deion Sanders or something out there. And like, he just doesn't really see the floor right now. Something's in his head. He's thinking about something instead of, in fact, what's going on the court. And I hope that like all this changes in Game 7. He comes out and was a great CP3 game, but
that's what we keep waiting for, right?
Yeah, you keep waiting for it.
Yeah.
Though. That's the crazy thing, is we're continuing to wait for it. I was excited when this game started because the Suns were originally going to wear their orange jerseys. They changed to white jerseys.
Their orange need to be burnt.
Seriously, burn those fuckers.
Throw those
man.
The
Suns jerseys look nice, and I was like, hey, we're going to win this game now. The white jerseys come out, and they just get obliterated.
Yeah, you can see their shirts tucked in to the shorts. It's so weird. I hate that. Does that bother you when you see their jerseys tucked into their shorts?
Not at all.
Okay.
I don't know. Never even thought about it. Never thought. I just thought this team's been garbage in orange jerseys throughout the entire postseason. But so one guy who we talked about a lot at the Twitter space at halftime. The frustrating part about this game was the fact that the Suns in the first half appeared to be playing like rope-a-dope, right? Like they were right there, and you were just waiting for them. It seems like they were trying to feel out the opponent, and what they were doing to their detriment was seeking out matchups rather than just trying to execute their offense. So they were running themselves off threes because they're like, oh, well, if we go Mikal Bridges and we see that Brunson's going to be on him, that's a plus matchup. So we're going to try to exploit that. And ultimately, Brunson is a solid defender. He's a little brick shit house, and you get Mikal Bridges getting to the mid range and missing his mid-range shots and such. But DeAndre Ayton was the guy who we were talking about on the Twitter space at halftime. Like, why are we just not pounding the ball to DA? Why isn't it just like DA City right now? Now, half of that is the fact that, again, the Suns couldn't pass the ball. In the first half, they had eight turnovers. And they couldn't get the ball into any kind of offensive rhythm to get DA involved. But when they could, in that first half, he was 5 of 7 from the field. He had 10 points. He had 5 rebounds. He ends the game as the high scorer for the Phoenix Suns, 21 points, 11 rebounds, 10 of 16. And we talked about it a lot on the last podcast, right? It's not all about the box score with DA. It's what did we see? He backed up that 21-11 tonight. I thought he had a fantastic game, and he could have had a better game if the Phoenix Suns, 1, fed him the ball a little bit more, and 2, if he made some of his fucking free throws. Because he was 1 of 4 from the line.
Yeah, I was gonna say, 1 of 4. That kind of stuck out too.
Yeah.
He was kind of passive in the beginning, but the start of the game, he looked really great. He had like 3 boards within 1 minute. One of them was actually a putback offensively. So I'm like, oh yeah, here we go. DA's touching the ball a lot. That's what he needs to get into these games, and it's perfect. But then he kind of like laid off the pedal a little bit. He was really hesitant on shots in the paint, and like, I'm repeating myself like all season long, saying this stuff, but he was really hesitant on some of the shots that are usually like his little
the
floaters.
Pump fake thing. Like, why is he doing the pump fake thing?
I don't know. I have no idea, dude, because this is one thing that just has to be fixed. I think he had 2 possessions where they dumped him the ball, and it was actually after Bismack came in. Bismack came in the first, looked really great, and he showed DA like, hey, as soon as you get the ball, just put it up on the rim, put it in there, and he did that. Like, Bismack's really good at going up to get the ball when they pass it down to him and just going straight up for the easy 2. He showed DA. DA came in and did that a few times, and he looked great. But then I think when the Suns get down, especially like in the playoffs, dude, it's so crazy. When they're down by 10 or 15 points, they kind of go away from it. They try to feed DA, but it seems like they try to make up too many points, of course, like so quickly within one possession, right?
Yeah, they're doing the 3-point shooting shit.
Yeah.
Which they haven't done all year.
It just seems so fragile where it's like, if we don't score this possession, it's over. You know what? You can just see it in their body language where they're out there and they're trying to get to the DA. They're trying to do something. They're doing too much. And they're just trying to make up for that because they know like Dallas is going to go on a run. Dallas can't stop making their threes. The crowd's going crazy. So then I think that kind of gets in DA's head a little bit too. The stats look good for DA. It does. It's just whenever this team is just so off, it doesn't matter from that point on when they're down by that much, that like, especially going into halftime, it doesn't matter what he does anymore because he'll get his 2 points, but then the Mavericks will just come down and score like 6 points in a row. You know what I mean? Like it's so quick for them to turn it around for the Dallas Mavericks to like kind of match his 2 points, and they just couldn't get out of the way. But that one dunk by DA on Luka, where Luka got elbowed, and then he gets the technical, and then Luka
for taunting
in the 4th quarter. Yeah, and then Luka
apparently after you dunk, you shouldn't. Yeah, Luka does it after every play.
Yeah, he does it.
He
and
flexes. He looks at the guys and he talks shit. And like DA,
what is that?
DA dunks. He just looks down. I loved it too.
But you just knew it wouldn't go anywhere because in any kind of momentum that you can gain from that, the Suns just like, nope, they put it right out. They're like, let me just lick my finger. It's just put that out. Put that match out.
And what they do is they allow the Dallas Mavericks to manipulate them on defense to get open 3-point shooters. Because again, in this game, you look at it, 16 made threes on 39 attempts, 41%, which again is 6% above the average for the Dallas Mavericks. And, Reggie Bullock, 5 of 11 from beyond the arc. That guy was 0 for 5 in game 5.
Yeah.
0 for 5. You have Luka went 2 for 8, pretty typical for him, but 3 for 5 for Maxi Kleba, 5 for 7 from beyond the arc for Spencer Dinwiddie. And all these shots are wide open shots because it's drive and kick until you get that open shot. And the Suns are just not rotating, and it's so funny because like literally in game 5, they were. It's just like, again, the schizophrenic Suns. I don't understand how they can completely not execute after executing in game 5. Like they go to Dallas, and again, I mentioned this as we previewed this game and when I talked about adjustments is that the Dallas Mavericks role players are going to play better. You just know it. It's home court. And that's the one thing we have going for us as we enter game 7 is our role players will play better because they're at home and they feed off the energy of the crowd. You make 1 3, all of a sudden that starts to snowball and avalanche into a plethora of points. And hopefully if you're executing on the defensive end, it's a 17-0 run like we saw in the third quarter of game 5. But that being said, this, why not stick to your man? Devin Booker, again, was getting caught with his pants down on defense. Spencer Dinwiddie is making wide open corner threes. I'm like, we just talked about this in game 4. It's just, again, it's not championship level basketball. It just isn't. Now, that being said, like the Grizzlies, the Warriors, they're not playing championship level basketball either. There's no one who is a Terminator in this playoffs. And that's why this is so frustrating. If we lose to Dallas in game 7, an opportunity to go to the NBA Finals is sitting right there because if it's Memphis or if it's Golden State, we have a chance against both teams. We're a great basketball team, but we can't get out of our own way. In Dallas, we can't get out of our own way.
Yeah, and that's why everyone chose the Suns to go to the finals. It was a no-doubter because of how great we played all season long. We just didn't know. Maybe we should have known about Chris Paul and the effect of him playing, these games not back to back, but every other night, and the toll it might be taking on him because he does look so exhausted. We didn't realize, that might affect everything because as good as the Suns are, and especially like when when Booker got hurt the first series, like, oh, we'll be fine, right? Because we have the rest of the team to back us up. I still believe that with Chris Paul being the way he is, but the fact that he's on the floor too, where he's just like the opposing team knows, the Mavericks know for sure something's up with him. So they're not going to focus a lot of energy on him, like you said, and that just takes away from everything else the Suns are doing. And whatever happened to Mikal Bridges and Cameron Johnson night, like you said with Bullock, he went 0 for 4 last game or 0 for 5. Then he comes in, he drains the threes. I think that's the same thing for the Suns. I feel like every time we're playing at Dallas, Mikal and Cameron Johnson just cannot get it going. But then Mikal always has a bounce back game. So I'm always looking forward to that for sure.
Well, and again, you talk about the Twins, right? They combined for 3 of 12 from the field. Mikal Bridges 1 of 1 from beyond the arc, but he only shot the 1. So 1 for 3 for Cam Johnson. They combined for a total of 12 points in this game. Those are the guys you need. I mean, it's unbelievable. We talk about how shitty the bench played, but I mean, you look at Mikal Bridges and how he didn't have a great game. He had a couple turnovers as well. I mean, everybody's just throwing the ball away.
Dog shit game, right?
Those are
Aiden's favorite games. That way Dayton could just be like, hey,
it wasn't me.
Stats. I'm just kidding.
And again, like part of me is going to compartmentalize this and throw this game away because I really think that, it doesn't matter. All that matters is the next game. I'm just so pissed because it is an elimination game, game 7. It's the first time that the Phoenix Suns under Monty Williams are playing in a game 7. Like it's Devin Booker's first game 7.
I know exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
But dude, it's just so weird because the expectations for this team, this is why we get so upset. The expectations plus the way we're losing these games is where we just get blown out and there's never any fight to get back in it.
Yes.
It's nuts. Except for last game, we were down by like 6, I think, to start the 4th or something. But then we just get blown out again. It's like the fight that we don't have and the shot making we don't have towards the end of the games is what's killing us and what's making us crazy. If we're losing these games in Dallas where it's like 6, 5, 3, 4 points,
like imagine if you're a Bucks fan or a Celtics fan and you lose to the Bucks by 2 points like they did in game number 5, right?
Yeah.
You leave that frustrated because it was right there, but you don't feel like you're like, hey, we make 2 adjustments in that final 2 minutes and we win this game. That's what made the NBA Finals so frustrating for the Suns because we were right there in the game. It was just like poor execution in the last 2 minutes. We were right there.
True.
Like they whooped our ass. We were in almost every game. I think there was one where there was a pretty big one. But I mean, outside of that, it's just when you have these huge swings, we win by 30, they win by 27. It's just you don't know what truly is the root of it all. That's a lot of eyes are going to CP3. It's going to be interesting to see what.
Oh, shout out Naked HD back. Oh, damn.
I blocked it. I'm on it. I'm talking and blocking at the same time. But I mean, you really don't know what to think. Flex from Jersey, he tweeted out after the game. He says, "This was absolutely embarrassing. Nothing else to say. Shame on the Suns for their effort tonight. They put themselves in this spot. Credit the Dallas Mavericks for bringing it tonight. Win or go home on Sunday, and I'm not losing sleep after this performance. Best team wins on Sunday." And I agree with that. I'm not losing sleep on this performance. I'm just frustrated that the goddamn Suns put themselves in the situation to have to play a Game 7 against one of the premier talents in the NBA, and that's Luka Doncic.
That's what you don't want. That's what Bill Simmons was talking about too. You just don't, because Luka's been playing decent. Like, the thing is with Luka, I think he's very special, but he has even more in him. I feel like his shot making, I feel like just hasn't been there. I know he's always like the 10 for 27 guy, but he hasn't had those games where he's just like in the later
all the threes
of the game where he's just nailing every three. He hasn't done that yet.
And he did that against Utah.
If it happens in Game 7, man, we're screwed, because Suns can't match that, especially Chris Paul. Even though he's throwing these games, he has to be throwing these fucking games, dude. They have to make more money. At work, there's this lady at work, sweet lady. She tells me that's just to make money. She believes in the Suns, but she even said Game 7. I think there's gonna be a Game 7, just because they need to make their money back, and that might be all it is. None of this matters.
I know it feels like it though, doesn't it? It feels like it. It feels like
that's why we're so weirded out.
Well, yeah, it feels like
it makes no sense.
If it feels like pregame, they're like, listen, just we need a Game 7. There's been no Game 7s thus far in the NBA playoffs, which is actually kind of strange because typically, especially in those 4-5 matchups in the first round, like you almost always get a Game 7, and sometimes in the 3-6 matchup. So maybe
Golden State. Maybe that one goes 7.
Yeah, we'll see. I hope so. But let them both go 7. I will say this, that I did tweet out, is it the worst thing in the world to have Cam Payne start Game 7? Here are the responses. LOL, you kept the game on those last 4 minutes. You tell me. Somebody else, absolutely. Somebody else, yes, yes, it is. Yes. Anybody but Payne. So no one has faith in Cam. So Aaron Holiday.
Why would we though, John? That's a stretch.
I know. Shout out to C-Jack in the chat, $5 in the super chat. We truly appreciate it. We have to commit hard to guarding the 3. Half of their shots, especially role players, are from 3. They live and die by it. That's how we win Game 7. And that's what happened in game number 5. We clogged the passing lanes. We defended the perimeter. We forced them we ran them off the 3. You just look at 3-point attempts. They had like 22 3-point attempts through 3 quarters last game. We blew them out, so anything in the fourth quarter really didn't matter. Whereas the previous game, they had double that. And then again, in this game, they had a total of 39 attempts from beyond the arc, and they had 34 of those through 3 quarters.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, they're just sitting back and just popping shots on us, and we're standing around, allowing them to do so. And you can't
they get down on
do
themselves.
that. So what do you think about what the big Warthog says? Start Alfred Payton?
Oh, yeah. I would definitely do that over Cameron Payne. No, Alfred Payton, just move him maybe a seat closer on the bench. He can do that. But I was going to say, like, the way the NBA is right now, like, everyone talks shit, right? Everyone is talking their own shit. Everyone thinks they're the best player in the NBA. I wonder if that has something to do with these games where we're watching the playoffs where it's just always one-sided, right? I think the only matchup really that, like the Celtics and Bucks series, that's the only series that usually goes down to the wire, because you have Giannis, who never talks shit, just keeps playing. You have that the Boston Celtics. I mean, Jason Tatum barely says shit. You know what I mean? I feel like these teams and these players think they're always the best, and then when it's not going their way, they get so down on themselves and they don't want to kind of embarrass themselves by like going out there and actually trying and then failing, kind of like a Ben Simmons kind of thing, where he's just like too cool for school, where he doesn't want to try because he just doesn't want to look stupid. I feel like that's something that's going on right now, because the Suns talk so much shit. And that's the worst part about this. If we lose the Mavericks and all this shit, and it's fun, right? It's all fun and game. When you're on the court, you can talk shit. But then the press conferences, when Booker and Chris Paul go off and they do their little side like comments and kind of laugh at Luka and stuff like that, that's kind of going to come back and haunt them if this obviously ends in a Dallas win Sunday.
Man, I tell you. Well, and here's the crazy thing is now the Suns on any ABC/ESPN affiliate are 0-3 in this series, and we're 3-0 on TNT. And it was great tonight, man. We had JJ Redick, which was a nice break. It was a nice break from Reggie Miller, right? And
I
even
didn't
though,
notice them, so they must have done good.
yeah, exactly. That's the key. It's like, he's just kind of there giving some good observations, not saying stupid shit. Of course, you have Mark Jones doing the broadcast with him, which anytime Luka Doncic dribbles between his legs, he's like, Luka playing with his food.
Yeah,
he
how
said
many
that
times are
shit
you gonna
like
say
7
that?
times in the fucking series. But
That
that
dude
being
does not
said,
play
like
with his
Game
food.
7 is going to be on ABC. So like, are we cursed on ABC? Like,
And Scott, no, we're cursed because Chris Paul
we're
can't
gonna
play
have
basketball
Scott.
right now.
We're gonna have Scott Foster. Yeah, that's right.
And then
We're gonna
Chris
have
Paul's his butt cheeks gonna be
ABC.
exploded. I don't know.
Man, and then of course, I'm reading Twitter and it says that Chris Paul said that he's good, but I mean, he said that all during the finals last year.
Something's up with him.
Did you see that tweet I put out where I was like, "Hey, at ESPN, what is this one-sided promo garbage?" Because the promos over the last 2 days just were all Luka highlights.
Mm-mm.
You didn't see that? It's been viewed by like 15,000 people. It's got 826 likes right now. By 826 likes.
It's your tweet.
None of them are from Matthew.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see it. I'm sorry.
Matthew doesn't like my shit on Twitter.
You
It's
should
okay.
tweet it out from Jam Session, dude. Stop building your
Okay.
own brand. Build our brand. Come on.
I try to build our brand and no one likes our shit. I mean, everyone's just like, I don't care what.
It's because I'm doing the shit. It's because I just put like I do tweets like I was like, what? I put tweets out there like that. I get 2 likes.
Oh man, I'm trying to think of what else to talk about in this game. I mean, it's just
Did you do subreddit?
a big. I did do subreddit. Do you think it's time that should we talk about the subreddit stakeout?
I think so.
Okay.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
So there I was, hanging out on the subreddit for the Dallas Mavericks. It's not the prettiest place to be. Well, maybe for them, considering they whooped that ass tonight. They were having a good old time at the expense of the Suns. But here's some of the things they said on their subreddit. First one. This is where I got it. They said TNT 0-3, ESPN 2-0. We got this. That was at the beginning of the game. And that's when I was just like, oh, man. Bitch Yombo.
Bitch Yombo?
Yeah, instead of Bismack Biyombo.
He needs to play 40 minutes, dude.
Bitch Yombo. It was one of the things they said.
Biz. Biz.
Now, obviously, that was after Luka Doncic backed him down, and he played great defense on him. And then another play, he went and he blocked his shot, and Luka like flopped midair, and they wanted the call, and they just didn't give him a fall. They're like, out on you.
Yeah.
That's when they said that.
You notice, like, every time Marquise Chris comes into the game, I never watch it, but I always hear after, like, he gets in a fight with somebody, almost hurts somebody. What is going on? I always miss that part because I just turn the game off to get ready for the pod.
He's just so pissed at the world because he's Marquise Chris because he does airball dunks. F that dude. Here we go. We should start the quarter with a hard foul on Booker, especially if they start to tic-tac us with cheap fouls. That was going into the third quarter. They knew that Devin Booker was going to be out there and he was going to try to create contact. And then somebody said, it's dumb that we are nervous about a 15-point lead. That is how good the Suns are. I didn't feel it at all tonight, man.
Me neither.
We were down 15,
I knew it was
and
over.
I didn't feel it at all. I knew it was over.
Yeah, halftime where we're just like, whatever. I think the ticky-tack fouls actually in the first quarter, I feel like that the Mavericks started getting really stupid foul calls against Luka to make Luka happy. Like the Suns were kind of doing good to really kind of maybe take a 5-6 point lead going into the second quarter, but then they kept giving Luka these really crappy fouls. Like seriously, they were, and I'm not bullshitting. I seriously think they weren't even touching him. And Luka would get him, I think, just to make him a little bit happy. It was the weirdest thing.
It's kind of what happened was Bismack Biyombo on that play had a physical play on Luka, and Luka lost the ball out of bounds, and he started kind of crying to the referees as he typically does.
Yeah.
And that was, Bismack came in with 2:51 left in the period, and that play was kind of the next one, right? And then so what Luka does is he goes and he starts, every play he's looking at the refs. It's the one detriment to watching Luka Doncic because he is a great basketball player. The way he manipulates the court, the way that he can pass, the way that he can play physical at his position. He really is a fun player to watch if you can appreciate that. But it's his constant whining and pining the referees after every play. You watch him and he looks over and he's always saying something to him. And I'm surprised, especially in the series, he hasn't been got a couple more technical fouls because he leads the league in like techs, or he's like top 5 for sure. But that's what happened in that first quarter was the next play he comes down Jay Crowder's standing there, and he runs by Jay Crowder and throws up a shitty shot, and then they call a foul. And you look at it, and it's like Jay Crowder's literally standing there.
He didn't touch him.
So Jay's like this, and Luka runs parallel to him, throws up a shitty shot, and he gets a foul call. And those were free throws at the end of that quarter, unfortunately, and it expanded that lead for the Dallas Mavericks at that time.
God save us.
But here you go. Here's the other side of that coin, right? Refs are just dog shit. Luke and Brunson hammered on one end with no call, and Paul and Booker getting calls for flailing. So again, it's all perspective. They're seeing us because, again, in that third quarter, the Phoenix Suns had how many free throw attempts? I think it was 8, right? 9 free throw attempts in the first quarter. And somebody had mentioned it in their subreddit. They said, be ready for that backlash because the Dallas Mavericks had 15 free throw attempts in the first half. So they were kind of getting themselves ready for it. Then it was happening. And then they said, LOL, they can't do shit on offense, and they've resorted to hunting free throws with flops and flails. It's just funny hearing that because that's like literally the Dallas Mavericks game plan.
36-21 on it. It's like really like I can't believe these fans that really think the Suns always get every call. It's crazy, man.
I know.
If we
36
if we're
free
getting
throws
calls,
for the Mavericks,
it's always even
21
out.
for the Suns.
It's never been in the favor of the Suns. If we get calls, then it just means it's evening it out a little bit towards the opponent. That's it. Like we never can overtake them in free throw attempts, no matter who we're playing.
Yeah, it's not the way that we play basketball. We don't go, they say that we're hunting and flailing for fouls. No, maybe your team's just fouling us and you're finally getting called for it. Because you go back, it's like that one play, Devin Booker's going up. He gets Dorian Finney-Smith, hits him right in the arm. Everybody's pissing and moaning and
he cupped his arm.
He cupped his arm.
Yeah, but everyone does that though.
Yeah,
and
I know.
it is a foul. Once you get into that, it's a foul.
And it's a foul. And even JJ Redick said it on the broadcast. He's like, well, I'm glad they called that one because that is a foul. So they think that he's flailing. Yeah. It's like, you know what? Maybe he's being a little bit more extra. And by him, I mean Devin Booker, because he's not getting a lot of foul calls. He realizes he's got to play the Mavericks game. He's got to do the Jalen Brunson every time after a play. He's got to be like. There's this new app on
Brunson's.
There's this new app on TikTok where it's like if you hold it up to your face, it makes it look like you're crying. And so it's like, even if you're smiling, it looks like you're crying. It's kind of crazy. That's called the Jalen Brunson app because that's all he does is walk around crying.
Oh, well, 2 things. Are those Shannon's sunglasses? And we can see that you're watching porn on the reflection. So
hey, the Sun's Jam Session is my porn.
Okay.
Here's another one. Ayton, how could you assault your future teammate like that after the foul on Luka Doncic where he elbowed him in the face?
I could see him being a Maverick.
The Devin Jenner flop tour continues. Okay, guys, it's obvious Suns suck when playing from a 10-plus point deficit. That's how we win in Phoenix. We have to come out strong and build a quick lead. That is a true statement. The Phoenix Suns have played horrible from behind in this series. They have not had any ability to come back on this team. They did a little bit in Game 5. I think they were down 8 in the first quarter, and they came back. Outside of that, they just haven't put any runs together, and that's because on defense, they're allowing the Dallas Mavericks to do what they want. And what is that? Drive, kick, 3 or something in the paint. That's literally their game plan. It's basic, and the Suns, again tonight, couldn't stop it.
And do you ever notice when we are down, it always seems like there's someone else bringing the ball up, like Shamet, Jay Crowder, even Craig was in there. Like these guys bringing the ball up to set up the offense and then just turning it over. It always seemed like that tonight, where it's just like we're down by so much, but every time there'd be someone else with the ball trying to fuck things up. Like it was never consistent with Book. You know what I mean? It's always Luka bringing it up, right? Just always have it with Book or something, but it was always just someone else just fucking things up.
Yeah, I mean the whole team was just fucking up. Who do you think's the best guy to bring it up the court?
Booker for sure.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, I got that in there though.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who it is. Everybody sucks.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
But he sucks at bringing it up right now. Damn it, Suns.
Damn it. It doesn't matter. You're right. It doesn't matter.
And once again, for Jalen Brunson.
God damn it, I don't know what it is about your face, but I want to deliver one of these right in your suck hole.
Oh, man. What else do you have in your notes?
Oh, I have, who did we not go over? Well, okay, Mikal Bridges. I actually had some notes on this dude.
Well, here, let's give him a drop, even though he probably didn't earn it tonight.
Warden.
All right. So my notes, first quarter, I'm just going to read them off. I'm just going to read them off what I said. Usually, I mean, that's what you're supposed to do, but the best on the second cut, because leading Aiden to buckets, that's like the nicest thing he's done in this series. And I think it's the only way the Suns really scored is on those second passes to DeAndre Ayton on those
and
cuts.
they were fumbling those too.
And that's, and Mikal Bridges, the one where he just Sean Marion it away, where he just he flabbergasted away or whatever that word means. And he flabbergasted it.
Flubbergast, that's a fart, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm flabbergasted.
But he was he on ice skates out there too, man? I feel like he was just skating all over the place. He did not have any footing in this game. And the one thing that was different from his shots he was taking in this game, usually they're going across the middle. And I think the first half he had some of them in the paint where he was missing. But he was like kind of like trying to have his own back down shot fadeaways. He never makes those. The ones he makes are like always the ones where he's just going across the lane.
Yes.
And someone throws him the ball. Yeah, and then he just, wide open from there. He missed a few of those, but that's usually his shot. I know he got like the 3-pointer to start the third quarter, but after that, dude, like even defensively, I mean, there was a bunch of plays where Doncic just got to the rim and dunked it, and like no one was there. Jay couldn't stay on him, but Mikal just he'll disappear. He'll have these games where like, oh, see, defensive player of the year. Look at this dude, lock this guy down. Like, I mean, he's already locked down, but yeah, thank God we signed this guy. And then all of a sudden he has these games where it's just like, where the fuck are you, dude?
Where the fuck are you? I don't know where the fuck he's at. No,
Yeah,
I agree.
cares?
Yeah,
No. It's just a waste of time.
No, but you're right though. It's just like I don't know.
The Sarge smoke break.
I'm sorry, Jamsters. I've literally hit the part of the podcast where it's just like I'm trying to make myself smile. So, Dario
we
Sarge,
could talk
we
about
miss you.
we could talk about Sticks and how every time you watch Craig and when a teammate's telling him like, hey, can you do what you're supposed to be doing on the floor? Like whenever they're actually talking to him, because you never see anybody talk to a player like players talk to Craig on the floor where it's like, dude, no, you're supposed to do this, and this. Whenever you're seeing that, how much more do you miss Sticks? Where Sticks just had such a solid ending to a season and he showed a lot of promise. Like every time I watch Craig, that's all I think about now.
This is where the point we've gotten to. It's like, man, we really miss Jalen Smith.
Well, come on, kind of, right?
You're not wrong. He was
Craig's
an
not gonna be here
amazing
next
rebounder.
year.
He was a rim protector and a rebounder. Guess what? We have a hard time with sometimes rim protecting and rebounding. You look at this game. Okay, you look at the some of the statistics. The Phoenix Suns out rebounded them 45-39, right? And we had 13 offensive rebounds to their 7. Okay. But we only had 11 chance points and they had 8. So it's like we didn't even win that battle in this game, right? You look at assists. The Suns only had 18 assists in this game. And the Mavericks had 18 as well. That's where the Suns kick your ass normally is on assists. And that's how we get our shots. And again, it all goes back to the way that they're blitzing our guards right now. And part of that is like one way to beat that, if you will, is you have Mikal Bridges stand right in the middle of the court. Right at the 3-point line. And anytime a blitz comes, he just comes right over, gets the ball, turns, and just darts. And now they're scrambling on defense. And now from there, he could dish the ball where he needs to do. And it's just like they're just not doing any of those things. I'll tell you a guy who would be a great distributor in this scenario.
Limpieza profunda e higiene? Confía en HS para un pelo 100% libre de caspa. Clínicamente probado. HS, shampoo número 1.
Ricky fucking Rubio, right? Ricky Rubio.
Ricky Rubio just got me to move a little bit, dude. Just a tiny bit.
That's Papa Ricky, man. That's Papa Ricky.
Yeah, that's a shout out to Suns Geek, actually. Happy birthday to Suns Geek.
Yeah, happy birthday, Suns Geek.
He's a big Ricky Rubio fan.
He is, and poor Suns Geek, man. Happy birthday. It's just the way it goes. I'm sure you've had other Suns playoff losses on your birthday in the past, poor guy. It's just kind of the way it goes, couple other things I want to talk about before we get out of here today. Yeah, I don't even want to talk about any of it. I'm so over this.
Are you just making stuff up right now? I mean, like, are we going to talk about adjustments? Maybe you want to talk about adjustments, or
let's just give out the fucking hardware.
Jam star of the game.
Is there anybody who gets? Is there anybody who gets the jam star of the game in this one, Matthew?
No, even Aiden's performance. Just I don't give a shit.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was too shaky.
Like, what are we watching? What are we watching, man?
What do you mean?
I just don't understand these games. I can't put my finger on it.
The schizophrenic Suns, man. It's the schizophrenic Phoenix Suns. It's going to be a great article for Brightside that I'm going to write tomorrow. I'll tell you that.
You
You
might
know?
offend some people with that. Some people
don't
have
care.
schizophrenia.
Yeah,
I
my
actually
dad-
wish I did.
My dad has schizophrenia, so
I know he does.
I'm offended.
Yeah.
Anybody gets offended. So, Game 7 adjustments: defend the perimeter, make your shots, and just be prepared for Luka Doncic to try to go nuclear. That's the thing. He is going to try to go nuclear. Luka's going to try to Giannis us in Game 6 of the finals. He's trying to go for 50. I guarantee you that.
Yeah, he's
I
gonna take
guarantee you
over.
that.
And those shots he's not making, he's gonna make. I can see him just making it. And even going to this game, and I did say at work, I feel like there was gonna be a Game 7. I don't think I said that before, but I'm like, I just can feel it because the way the series has been, the Mavericks look great and the Suns look great, and you always think the team that wins is gonna win the next one, right?
Yep.
And that's the way it feels right now. So
Yep.
of course the Suns will come out hot. If Chris
Just
Paul
play
can
defense.
take
Just
off his
play
dirty
defense.
diaper, take off that dirty diaper, start playing some basketball, dude. If you can't play, put in Aaron Holiday. Everyone's screaming for Aaron Holiday.
I know everyone. wants Aaron-
It's crazy, but we need some kind of energy out there. We can't have this take your time shit and just waste time when your offense needs a push, because it's not working. It hasn't worked all series or even last series.
I would not hate like 5 Aaron Holiday minutes sprinkled in that first half, especially if Chris Paul's hampered in any way, shape, or form. I would not hate that at all because, as you mentioned, Matthew, he has an energy about him. Now, granted, he's not a great distributor. He's not a great defender. He could be somebody who could kind of, against Jalen Brunson, potentially give him a little bit of trouble. Because, again, one thing that Jalen Brunson likes to do is get underneath his defender, and that's how he draws his contact. He's going up into guys, and Aaron Holiday, you can't do that. You're eye level with him, and if that's the case, defensively, it's going to be tough because he can hit those jumpers. He does the dream shake from 13 feet, and he hits it. So that might be defensively something that compromises the Phoenix Suns. But that being said, if it's an energy boost, if you feel in any way, shape, or form that you need an energy boost, I highly recommend some Aaron Holiday minutes. It's going to be a tense environment in that arena. It's going to be tense because if the Dallas Mavericks come out and they go up by 10 at any point in that game early, it's going to be quiet as shit in there. Now, hopefully it's loud. Did you notice again on the broadcast how it was very loud in Dallas?
No.
You don't notice these.
No, these fans aren't annoying me. I don't know why. I don't get annoyed.
No,
I get more
annoyed
annoyed
at the
at
broadcast. I'm more annoyed at the broadcast because on TNT you can't hear anything. It sounds like they're playing in a closed gym, and then you go on ESPN and it's just like.
Oh, okay. Is that the difference? Maybe that's why they're winning.
That's what I'm talking about.
If we had to see Brunson's dad one more time, where how it starts with his sperm and how he became a man because of his sperm and all this stuff, the road starts through his sperm, and the Suns have to be resilient. The Suns have to be resilient, just like Naked HD in our chat, dude. Just keep coming back.
I know. Naked
more
HD.
and more.
For those of you who are
Don't give up.
listening to the podcast versus actually watching it, we get bots that come in here and just start talking all kinds of crazy, and it's like this Naked HD trying to get all of our jamsters to go watch some porn or something, and I just
not that great. I checked it out a few times.
it's like, but it's like
It's not
Matthew
the
said, like
best.
that's the persistency that the Phoenix Suns need to play with. The same consistency that Naked HD has shown up to the chat in and game out. Yeah, I mean, we just go Suns, man. We gotta win that one, man. We gotta win that one. I really want to.
What happens if we lose? How are you? Are you gonna feel more mad just about Luka beating the Suns first, and maybe because
we'll cross that bridge when we get there. If we get there,
I did say, but I know I picked the Suns to sweep, right? But I did say whoever would win between these two, if they do match up, would probably end up going to the finals. I just can't believe it's actually happening to where I can see the Mavericks going if they beat the Suns. And if that happens, I don't want them to because of the Luka thing, but then I don't give a fuck because I don't play basketball and I'll probably forget about it in 2 days. So
we'll cross that bridge when we get
Thoughts? Brains?
All right, a couple things I want to talk about. Not Suns related. The Philadelphia 76ers, Matthew, they're not going to the finals as you predicted. They lost to the Heat in 6, 5? They're done.
Yeah, so they are done. Oh, he's going to be on the Knicks next year. I think he's going to be a Knicks because if you think about any team that will give him a chance, it'd be the Knicks.
Well, but
it does suck because I think What?
Go ahead.
No, I just think it sucks because Embiid did get hurt, and now we're going to talk about he gave up. But having your face fucked up like that, you know, we know with Joe Johnson, it just throws everything off. You can't be the same
Yes.
player at all. Joel
And he's
Embiid,
got a torn ligament in his hand.
and he has the worst luck. He really does. We talk about Chris Paul being hurt and all this shit, but Joel Embiid, there's always something wrong with him. And I think if he was healthy, they would have won this series for sure. I really do. I think they even maybe had a chance next series, but yeah, they're gone. That was my finals pick. So it's gonna be the Mavericks versus Celtics. It's gonna be so shitty.
Nobody had that shit. Nobody would be watching that crap. On that note, you know, he also a rough 2 weeks for Joel Embiid. Ligament damage, you know, orbital bone fracture. Then he loses the MVP to Nikola Jokic. What are your thoughts on that? I had Embiid in my vote that I didn't send in.
Yeah, I was kind of like, Jokic is the same season he had last year, right? I just thought it was. And Embiid, I don't know what else Embiid could have done to win it. I know maybe like 5 or 6 more wins, maybe. But he had such a great year to do what he did through everything that was going on with the trades and all that. Jokic is amazing. He is. And I'm not even going to compare his season to the postseason where his team was just embarrassed, like always. But it's a thing where Jokic just did the same thing last year, and the team sucks dick. And you can see the Suns won 64 games in a season that everyone took off and everyone was fucking injured. So Embiid, this was his year to win. Like this is what we were waiting for Embiid for forever. That's why I thought he would finally be rewarded. But it was like 84-31 first place votes in Jokic's favor. That was nuts.
The voters clearly valued the fact that there was no Jamal Murray and no MPJ, and they still got like the 6th seed or whatever they ended up with, the 5th, 6th. I don't even remember. I think it was the 6th. I mean, that's just what it comes down to. They don't value and this is crazy because it's like East Coast bias. You think they'd be sitting there rewarding what Philly had to go through, what Embiid had to go through, how he performed with the whole Ben Simmons thing, and then getting James Harden in the middle of the season. It's tough to stay consistent, and he stayed. But it just goes to show you, like, there's some of these sports writers and some of these broadcasters, they sit on their toilet, they open up a book of basketball analytics, and they just start jerking their gherkin because they're like, oh, basketball analytics, oh, look what he did, his PER. Bleh. You know, it's just, that's what they value. And that's just kind of the world we live in. You know, what was the statistic? It was the lowest number of first place voters since Steve Nash won his 2nd MVP with Phoenix. So, I mean, it was close-ish, but it was just, it's ridiculous, in my opinion, that Nikola Jokic won his 2nd one. I really think, like, what he did is more sustainable, and if you love jerking your gherkin, twice now said on the Suns Jam Session podcast, 2 analytics, he's going to give you those every year. Embiid's never going to be healthy enough to give you that. The fact that he was this season is an anomaly, and I think he should be rewarded because he's an absolutely fantastic talent.
That's the only reason, because he stayed healthy. I know, like, Jokic did do more with less. I'm seeing in the chat. Yeah, for sure. He did. It's just Embiid, he just had the year we've been all waiting for, and I just thought he would be. Because remember last year where it was like Embiid still almost won it over Jokic after missing, 30 games?
Exactly. He was too injured last season, though. That was the issue. Another thing to talk about is the fact that they now have these little things. For those of you who are listening, I just pulled up a picture of the Western Conference and Eastern Conference Finals MVP trophies named after Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. I'm going to tell you this. If anybody uses the conference finals MVP in any kind of legacy debates, I'm going to slap you. Because that is it's another kind of award where they're like, yeah, but LeBron had, 8 conference finals MVPs. He lost a bunch of titles, but he won a bunch of conference MVPs. I don't know if it was needed. Do you?
I saw those next to the Western Conference and Eastern Conference Finals championship trophies, and I was like, "Are those conference championship MVP trophies?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "What? Why?" And we only measure. Suns won Western Conference last year, but who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Every player wants the finals. That's all they want. In the finals MVP. That's the only 2 things that matter.
Yes.
I
just don't know why. And it's interesting because, I wrote that piece for Brightside about Monty Williams winning Coach of the Year. And one thing that I did is I dissected the awards process, if you will. Mm-hmm. And looking at it, originally when the NBA started, there was 2 awards that they gave out every year. It was Rookie of the Year and MVP. And then they added the Coach of the Year. And then in like 1983 83 or 4. I think it was 80, maybe 82. That's when David Stern was like progressing the brand. All of a sudden, there was Defensive Player of the Year, Sixth Man of the Year, a guy who fills up the gas in his car, the sexiest of the year. And they started giving away all these different awards. And now it's like, for some reason, I don't know why you would add this, trophy and award. And I don't know if you saw, but they also like adjusted the NBA Finals.
I
the Larry
kind of
O'Brien
like
trophy.
It's
with
like
the
a flat. It's like a flat color, like our shine. It doesn't have the shine. It's like a flat, right?
Yeah. Well, it's like the basket's a little bit smaller, and on the bottom, instead of being square, it's like 2 round pegs. It's just I don't know why.
I don't know why. And I don't know why Skip Bayless keeps choosing the Suns. I really think this is fixed. And I think the Kardashians, all this has to be, they're feeding into Stephen A and Skip. Otherwise, why the hell would you care about the Suns?
Because
I don't
it's
know why.
something to talk to.
All right.
I'll tell you this, Matthew. Here we go. Game 7 prediction. What do you got? Final score and everything.
You ready for this one?
Let's go. This is what we're going to close out the podcast with.
I think the Suns lose.
Score?
Close game. 107-103.
Okay. I'm going to say Phoenix Suns win 110-98.
All right. Everyone's going to hate me next pod. Go home and love your titties.